Greetings and welcome, one and all. I am Dr. Wolf, and I am most pleased to present the making of video for the MLP finale Villains Therapy Visit. And believe me, this project has been a long time in the works, but it was absolutely worth the wait. I am most pleased to have everyone who was involved in the project joining us here today. And I'd like to go around the table once, make sure everybody gets a chance to be introduced. First off, an artist who has been working on the A Moment with Dr. Wolf series since almost the very beginning, and someone who has contributed to I don't know how many different scripts and art and animation on the series since then. Let's start off with Starbat.
Well, hello, yes, I am an artist. I'm not a professional by any stretch, but I definitely have been involved in Dr. Wolf's projects since, what was it, the fall of 2014, something like that. And so this most recent project was quite an idea that I was really hoping to see come to fruition, and I'm really happy that people came together to help make this happen.
I'm so very glad that you've been a part of the series for so long, Starbat, really.
Oh, no problem.
And the next artist on this project, Kenisu of Dragons, he's actually been involved in a few other A Moment with Dr. Wolf projects, including the first anger management project, the animation that went into that final video. And yes, I was thoroughly impressed with the end results, and he's worked with me on a few other projects since then. You want to say a few words, Kenisu?
Hello, I'm your local geek artist, master dragon of whatever I'm good at, and I'm the lead artist and co-writer for this project. And it was real fun. We've been doing stuff for like the past few years, and yeah, it's been really cool.
Glad to have you with us, Kenisu. And now, a voice actor and audio editor that I've worked with many, many times over the years, especially in the TF2 Analysis series, but has also contributed his voice talents to a couple of different Discord appearances in the Moment with Dr. Wolf series. You want to say hello, Will?
Hello, Will. Hi, everybody. I'm DeWilstonator, and I am the voice of Discord in this project, or as I like to call it, A Moment with Wolfie Springer. It's like Jerry Springer, but it's actually tolerable to watch. But yeah, I've been voicing Discord for a multitude of projects ever since I was cast in the finale of Bride of Discord by Disney Fanatic 2364. Leading up to the sequel series, Daughter of Discord, which I voiced in the whole production in. And then, of course, being brought on to voice Discord again in the, not just in the first anger management animation that Kenisu did lovely, lovely animation for, but also the penultimate moment with, Discord's therapy visit. That was a lot of fun to do. And I was glad to be brought back for this one. So, yeah.
Thank you kindly for taking part once again, Will.
Absolutely.
And speaking of voice actors who have made a comeback for the same character, Mongoose actually voiced T-Rex in his first therapy visit a few years back. And when we asked if he'd be interested in taking part in a similar follow-up role, I am glad to hear that Mongoose was actually looking forward to it. You want to say a few words?
Sure thing. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Quite clearly.
Of course.
Yeah. Perfect. So I play the voice of Lord Tirek in this A Moment with Dr. Wolf video, and it was fun. I was looking forward to it because this is the sort of the meatier, the more ripped version. in the therapy visit, he was sort of like that skinny Darth Sidious sort of iteration. So it allowed me to actually kind of flex a little bit with both forms of the character. That's why I was looking forward to it so much.
Well, glad to have you back with us, Mongoose.
Feels good to be here. Feels good to be here.
And then we had 3 new voice actors / actresses join us for the first time in the Moment with Dr. Wolf series. Let's start with Liz Productions. She portrayed Chrysalis for the project. You want to say a few words, Liz?
Hello, everybody. My name is Liz. You may probably know me as Liz Productions 5784 on YouTube, or Blue Engine Liz 6 on Twitter. But yes, I voiced the former Queen Chrysalis in this A Moment with Dr. Wolf project, and honestly, I was pretty excited because not only was I taking part with such talented people, but also, actually, this is kind of a first for me voicing Chrysalis. I have practiced my voice of Chrysalis for maybe 1 or 2 years, but I never had a chance to voice her in a project. So this was like certainly really fun to do that, because I've done an impression video of her, and some people did like that, but never have I done it in a project, and it was really lots of fun. So I'm really happy to share that and take part in this project with Dr. Wolf and everyone else. It's been a lot of fun, really.
Well, I'm glad you decided to audition for the part, Liz.
Absolutely.
And then portraying the devilishly cute Cozy Glow, we have Pretty Pegasus Wings. Would you like to say a few words?
Hello, I'm Pretty Pegasus Wings. I do Cozy Glow for the Moment of Dr. Wolf this time around. And this is actually my first time doing Cozy Glow. When I saw the audition, I both tried for Chrysalis and Cozy Glow. I didn't feel super confident about my Cozy Glow since I hadn't really tried the voice before, but I practiced it a few times beforehand until I felt confident enough, and well, here I am. It was a really fun experience because I've never really played an evil child before.
Well, I'd say you pulled off the part rather convincingly.
Especially with that one
And
line you
fun.
have. Sorry to interrupt, but especially that one line you had when you said, like, "Oh, boo yourselves! You're all a bunch of simps." Sorry, the delivery on that was just mwah, beautiful.
Oh, wait, I think I did. I don't think I did a different simp.
Unfortunately for you, the internet will always remember Cozy Glow calling a bunch of people simps.
Classic.
How I always wanted to be remembered.
And finally, portraying the role of Scorpan, we have the Bold King Cole. Care to introduce yourself?
Hey, this is the Bold King Cole, part of Luck of the Stars. And I'm so glad you put in the "the." Everyone always forgets to put in the "the" in the name Bold King Cole. It's like a pimp named Slipback. You gotta say the whole thing. All right, but yeah, I do the voice of Scorpan. I actually learned of the project that Dr. Wolf was doing when he made the announcement a little while back. I decided to try to go with a more serious style. I actually made a hidden video where I recreated the old introduction of Scorpan and Tirek. Voice acted all the characters for that one, but it's just to make the point across.
So you're my brother. In,
all those months ago.
You're my brother in the episode then.
Yes, we're stepbrothers. only without that crappy movie to tie it in.
Well, remember, all I'm thinking of now is remember from the first Pokemon movie when the clones are fighting the originals? Someone's got to make an AMV about us now.
Mother.
My
Oh,
brother!
Good.
Nice.
Ah, jeez, I just remembered. I have to make that really bad song for Newgrounds. Oh, the theme for it is going to be delicious. I mean, not really delicious, since it's going to be bad, but still.
Well, I'm glad that each of you decided to audition for the parts because everything turned out so wonderfully at the end. It was just so entertainingly fun. Now, we've actually had a few questions from fans regarding the concept itself. I mean, especially putting not only the three main villains of the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic finale in a therapy visit, but deciding specifically on using a talk show setting hosted by Discord. And I'm sure quite a few fans are genuinely curious as to exactly how we came up with that idea. Starbat, you want to start us off there?
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, I had the idea to, I'm not sure exactly how I came up with it originally, but it just was some crazy notion that if Dr. Wolf's success in Ponyville became big enough that maybe one day he could have an actual talk show, and that he would see more patients that way. It was just kind of a funny idea, and then I realized, oh wait, what if it was more like one of those dramatic talk shows like Maury or Jerry Springer, where he might take advantage of dramatic material to get more views. Like, it's just such a not Dr. Wolf way of doing things, but what if he went that direction, right? And then one obvious example of that would be T-Rex being reunited with his brother Scorpan, and it would be one of those, unknown to T-Rex, his long estranged brother Scorpan is waiting for him backstage, and we're gonna get this dramatic reunion. And it really was just that simple. That the whole concept kind of grew from that little idea, and so I basically pitched it to Dr. Wolf, and it kind of snowballed from there, I guess.
Oh, yes. I remember that initially when we were thinking about having the three villains from the finale together in a therapy visit, I initially wanted to have sort of a direct follow-up to T-Rex therapy visit. That the natural evolution of that first story would be, let's bring Scorpan back. Let's see how T-Rex would react.
And also,
that's got so much potential.
And also, like, we feel T-Rex has changed as a character since he got out of his cage. So he's had more opportunities to interact with other characters. So
yeah,
that's how
kind of our own follow-up to Frenemies, I guess, because a lot of people kind of wanted to see those characters, increased in their dimension a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, Mongoose, you remember when we were initially walking you through that first project years ago? And I'm trying to remember exactly what did you think of the character that we had come up with back then and its evolution, what we presented in the finale therapy visit?
It felt like a natural sequel. The villain one that just came out, because there was a lot of callbacks to the first therapy visit with T-Rex, such as, I noticed the language was the same, like T-Rex calling the Dr. Wolf, the therapy, he called him a pony slave, which that continued even into the finale, but as the bigger T-Rex, now that he's been defeated, he's sort of using it a little less as an insult and more so as sort of he's trying to dismiss it because he knows Dr. Wolf was ultimately right. But I feel like because of his pride, the character in the Dr. Wolf, because I love what I love about the Dr. Wolf videos is that they sort of became their own. I know, like we like to say it's in Equestria, but it's almost like its own thing, and that's awesome to me. So yeah, it felt like a very natural progression of things.
I'm glad you approved so well. Now, in bringing each of these villains together, we knew inevitably that there'd have to be constant bickering between them. And one of the lines that just stood out for so many fans, and I'm sure the writers as well, is basically when Cozy Glow tells Chrysalis that her family tree is a wreath. And I really have to hand it to Starbat. My goodness, I don't know how you came up with that.
Thank you. I was quite proud of that one.
Yeah, I had to ask. What does that mean? And I said,
It's basically an incest joke.
Yes.
yeah, that's what I asked, and he said, "Oh, I get it now. I just never heard that before."
But I did want to hear from both Liz and Pretty Pegasus on what they thought of these two characters bickering with each other when they were recording for the script. Let's start with you, Liz. What were your favorite parts?
I suppose the only time that they bickered, I think it was only the part where you said that same line about your family tree's a wreath and how Chrissy was like, how about I give you a cocoon? How about I give you a cocoon? And all that. I mean, I myself didn't really understand that wreath joke either at first, so I was like, okay, I'm sorry, I don't really understand, and I don't know if I want to.
Well, as I just mentioned before, it's an incest joke.
I'll figure it out some other time, I suppose. But I rather liked how they still bicker, even like, you know, after the time they were in exile in Grogar's cave. You know what I mean? Like they still bicker even when they're in this a moment with Dr. Wolf thing. That's just funny. Like they don't change, I suppose.
I am impressed with how well you were able to portray Chrysalis talking to an inanimate object, though. You pulled that off rather convincingly.
Okay, let me actually say that was my own improv of that because when she was talking to the log in frenemies, I thought, how about I maybe include something like that? Maybe like, you know, motherly type of love kind of thing. And there you have it. It's like, oh my baby, oh, I'm so sorry, mommy's here. I'm so sorry.
So I was trying to remember, like, did we write that?
No. That was actually Liz's idea to include all those little improv moments.
That's like when I first heard it. It's just like,
and I like that when you know, VAs take it upon themselves to be creative that way because it brings more life to the interactions.
It reminds me of Anger Management 2, how the voice actor for Gruff was doing a regular.
Yeah, that was good too.
Mm-hmm.
And then you, Pretty Pegasus, when you were portraying Cozy Glow, I was rather impressed with how you were able to handle both her overly egotistical moments and yet still portray this vulnerability to the character. And for saying that you've never practiced Cozy Glow before you did that audition, you really should give yourself more credit, I must say.
Oh gosh. It was kind of funny because I was going from like, oh, what do you think? It's like, I don't know, this doesn't sound right. Well, I'll try again. And I think it's kind of her that pushed me to get better as I kept going at it for hours and hours. And yeah, I really enjoyed doing Cozy Glow. I don't often get to do sweet characters, which is kind of funny. People are kind of shocked, like, oh, but your voice is so soft. I'm like, oh, I know. it's just people really like my deeper voice. So it was a very fun experience to do a character that is not only sweet, but also, I guess you could say, sour, in how, but also in how, even when she's being nasty and you can even say bratish, she's still a child inside. She still has that mentality no matter what. And it was definitely fun to kind of get that balance of going from like sweet and then but also just being too sweet, but also being nasty and still being, well, cozy glow.
Basically, you have to master the art of the facade.
Yeah. It was definitely a different experience, and I deeply enjoyed doing this role. I hope I get to do cozy again sometime.
Well, some people were calling for a part 2 or a follow-up or something. I don't know about that, but
Oh gosh, I don't know, but I thought it ended really well.
yeah.
Well, maybe find some dramatic readings of Cozy if you're looking for something. So,
Or maybe maybe find some comics, like short form comics that feature her. That could be good practice.
I'll have to look into that. It's been so long
She-
since I've done comic dubs.
She
Oh,
might
wow.
even make an appearance in Pony Life. You never know.
We can hope, I guess.
I can only imagine what that would be like. Oh goodness.
My
Oh.
friend, don't jinx it, and don't ever make it into a curse, please.
why not?
I already have type 5 diabetes, and I don't need 2 more with the sheer amount of sugar that they inject themselves with. Okay,
Oh, imagine
whatever the heck they're
cruising on
on.
that sugar.
Yeah, it's powdered donuts. Don't look.
Well, speaking of sweet moments, I am grateful that the reunion between Scorpan and T-Rex turned out so tenderly and so believably. And I do have to thank you, Cole, for being able to portray a character who, even though we've seen images of him in G4, we really only had that voice of G1 to go off of, and you still managed to pull a very convincing portrayal of this reunion. So thank you very much for that, by the way.
No problem, Doc. You know, funny enough, that voice that I did for Scorpan, yeah, you said there's a warmness and such in there, and yeah, it took me years to actually have to do a proper way of conveying the emotions while not coming off as phony or insincere. Like, I mean, Thespio will definitely know what I'm talking about. Right, Discord.
Yeah, I can get that.
Yeah. So it took me a few years after when I was after high school to master the art of, well, essentially talking to myself and not coming off as insane. And I think I did rather well. Oh, and another ironic thing, the voice I did was actually for a mod for a Dragon Ball Z mod for a villain. Yes, the sheer irony.
Hey, if it works both ways, use it, right?
Hey, a girl likes a man who could do both ways.
I thought we had to keep this
PG.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Hey, I always just have to say that we're good, right, Yakko?
Okay.
That might be. Hello, nurse.
Yeah, she doesn't exist anymore.
Well, Will, you have been portraying Discord in various series for many years now, as you mentioned earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, this might be the first time you've ever portrayed him as sort of a talk show host style. Can you think of any other projects that really match that kind of energy when you were announcing for everybody?
Not off the top of my head, honestly. I mean, I have done talk show, TV show host, sort of announcery kind of things before, but yeah, I cannot for the life of me think that there was another time where I sort of did that as Discord, at least in the moment. Maybe I have, but that was like years ago and I just can't remember it, or I choose not to remember it. Either or, I accept both. But yeah, it was interesting to voice this character who is, in a sense, almost, aside from like certain interview clips, and at the very end he's barely shown. He is an omnipresent voice. I mean, with Discord, I mean, he can literally do anything he wishes. And I mean, and yeah, plus two, it was kind of nice to do something that is a bit in my wheelhouse in terms of character types, because like with certain classes I've gone to, I have been told I do have this good announcery type of voice, and it was fun to try to do that as a character doing this archetype. And yeah, like, I mean, I've been told like could do like radio promos and the like with the sort of cadences I do whenever I record. And yeah, having Discord do that, it does seem like something he would do, or that his character would be able to do or want to do. So yeah, it's kind of like the best of both worlds here, in this sort of context, and it was great fun. I'm glad it came out the way it did, especially with the art and animation by Ken and Starbat. It definitely took me by surprise. Like even just the trailer for it, I'm like, whoa, we're really doing this route, and they went all out. So yeah, it was a good time.
Thank you. I was glad we were able to keep the TV theme going.
Yeah, definitely.
It got really experimental.
Well, look at the bright side. At least it's not Know Your Mayor.
That old meme.
Yeah, that old thing.
I honestly thought the idea of this being a TV show is honestly kind of brilliant, considering it's Discord. How else would he do it? He's got to make a show of everything.
Yeah, don't touch that
touche.
dial.
It even makes sense, like, in universe, because Discord, I'm pretty sure, like, they hint at, especially in season 9, he's kind of like one of the most powerful entities in that universe. So he can kind of, it's, even if they fought back, like, what could they do? It's Discord.
They can't. You cannot kill. You cannot kill them. You can only imprison them, especially because you can't. Because using the K word is not allowed on children's television.
Another dimension.
Yes, another. We'll send you to another dimension.
But yeah, I do agree with that, Mongoose, because yeah, it would be in his character to do so, and yeah, he is, like, when you compare all the other foes that the main characters have faced in this show, yeah, Discord really is the most powerful. Like I said, he can literally do anything he wishes. So yeah, it would make sense for him to, and of course coincides with him being the trickster. So
right.
Yeah, definitely good. It's a good comparison and connection there.
And also, Will, and this is an interesting thing I've noted between both writers of both of the separate productions. This is the second time I've played sort of the straight man, stone-faced Tyrek to your sort of meta-breaking Discord in remember Sailor Moon? It was a few years ago. Sailor Moon.
Oh right, the Sailor Moon,
yeah.
My Little Pony by Toucan LDM. Oh yeah, that was a blast.
That was fun
to do, and to see the two of us work together again for that. It came out so well. Loved it.
It was so it works both times. I don't know who wrote the script, but I just wonder if there was some inspiration, just because Tyrek never makes a joke. Discord is jokes, so like I like that back and forth banter they have, or lack thereof.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
works.
very true.
I didn't know you guys worked together before. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I do
like
remember that project now, and it never even clicked with me. Wait, they have voiced those same characters together before. Oh goodness, that's
Yeah.
a bit of
yeah,
trivia.
we kind of have been sort of like, not gonna lie, this is actually this very podcast or interview or whatever we want to call this behind the scenes sort of shtick. This is actually the first time that me and Mongoose ever actually spoke to each other one-on-one. We've kind of always had this dichotomy of still working together in projects, but not actually formally speaking to each other until now.
Yeah, it's been and it happened after the series ended. So
Right?
I think it was a lot of my earlier involvement with some of the fan projects. I was in college at the time, so most of what I did was these sort of hit and run recording sessions with whoever the director of whatever the project was at the time. I would maybe ad lib some stuff here and there, but it was mostly I had to study or work or whatever. So
Yeah, sure.
life gets in the way. But
I
that's
feel you,
been
bro.
that's been a surprise. Those kind of nice thing about the COVID-19 pandemic. Like, there's not a lot of good things you can extract from this year, but sort of like the online presence, it gives you a chance to get more involved in things that you couldn't have gotten with beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely. Full agreement.
Well, I believe it is time that we take a look at exactly how this 3D space for the talk show got started. Would you care to show us, Starbat?
Yeah, sure. Hold on one second. Let me just get my screen share going here. Alright, now actually this is pretty simple. This is actually part of my original proposal to Dr. Wolf when I first came up with the idea. This is just a simple trace of the Dr. Wolf logo, Dr. Wolf Talk Show logo, that I wanted to show. And this is what it ended up being when I had it fully realized in Blender, which is the 3D software that I use. I've been dabbling in Blender for about 1.5 years now, and I'm nowhere near an expert, I would say, but I'm very happy to take advantage. So, are you seeing what I'm playing right now? Can you see the Dr. Wolf thing forming?
Yeah, yeah.
So you can see these two icospheres here at the tips. Those are the emitters that are emitting the sparkles. You can see them in black in the... and now here's the full color version. This is the Eevee rendering engine that I'm using. And this is what... and you can see here... where's the camera? Yeah, so there's the camera, that yellow thing right there. And you can just see how the camera moves into position to focus in on the Dr. Wolf logo. And up here, this big old block up here, that's the other emitter that's emitting all of the sparkles that you see floating around the Dr. Wolf logo there. And this also basically, if I turn off the Dr. Wolf picture here, you can see that just ends up being the background that I ended up using for the credits as well. So that's a whole process. The Dr. Wolf picture, or Dr. Wolf logo, is just a path. In other words, it's a defined line. And pick it here. And if I change the thickness of it, like so, there we go. You can see how I do that. And that's basically how it's made. And I used a similar technique when I was creating. So this is the studio. You guys can see that now, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So
Oh.
I remember I designed Dr. Wolf's office space originally to have this chair, and I basically created it in 3D. My design, you can see how the wooden frame there, it's basically just that same path technique that I used to make the title. So, just little things that I pick up that I wouldn't, like I said, I'm just kind of experimenting and figuring out how these things work, and making it work for the project. Just looking at the layout of the studio itself, you can see I've got my stage lights all laid out here, right there. And the stage lights up top are just glowing spheres. That's all that is. You can see I've actually got some unused assets back here. Just an old wall and like this is the couch that I used originally as a stand-in. Here's all the gray block version. There it is. Yeah, see, this is about the colors. You can see Dr. Wolf is just a PNG. That's just you don't really see what the picture is unless I turn the colors back on. You got Ponyville and Canterlot as nightscape pictures, and I designed that to basically be a reference to some of these old talk shows, old TV talk shows like David Letterman and what's the other one?
Like David Letterman, Carson Daly,
Larry King,
Late Show, and all that stuff.
The cityscape at night, in the background. That's always the thing they do when they're on talk shows. So I figured I would just do that, but with Ponyville and Canterlot here.
You know what this actually reminds me of? If you go at a distance, it reminds me of Windows Movie Maker.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Does anyone remember Windows Movie Maker or Nickelodeon Movie Maker or anything like that?
I never used that myself, so I'm not sure.
I guess I'm the only one here.
I remember.
Use Movie Maker for speed paints.
Oh yeah.
I am so old.
Unfortunately,
Preach.
the audience area here is totally empty. I just repeated the same chair over and over again to create the impression of the audience. Originally, I had the idea that we would have a whole bunch of Discords sitting in those chairs and kind of applauding and laughing, but it would have been too much work for me to do. But I would have loved to have gone that far with it, really.
Yeah, I'd actually like to
not
think
lucky.
with if the audience was pretty
Standing.
much abandoned. I was actually thinking like there's no seats in the chairs, but it's just Discord with a sound effects CD and playing certain tracks of audience members either cheering, booing, laughing, and the like. It's
Yeah, that would have been funny too, I guess. Yeah, but I figured.
yeah, I could totally see him doing that.
Oh
So-
yeah. What was that invention called again? It's the Laugh Box or whatever it was called.
Laugh track or
Yeah. Yeah, the laugh tracker thing. I forget what the exact one was called. They thank God they discontinued those because they've got really annoying.
Yeah. And here you can see the render in full color. This is what I ended up showing, and there were only a few shots throughout the video that actually used the 3D environment. Only a couple shots at the beginning and one where Scorpan is emerging from backstage. The rest of the time, I am basically just using still screenshots of the 3D information. Screenshots like this. It's just a simple screenshot, and I just moved the PNGs across that. And I also just wanted to show.
So, are you rendering these? Are they at every single frame has to be high definition? I'm assuming. So the rendering time must take a while. I'm guessing.
Oh, it depends on what engine you're using. There's the Cycles engine, which is more or less photorealistic, and then there's the Eevee engine, which kind of cheats on line tracing and such, so it doesn't take as much processing power. So
What engine
that's
are you
what
running for this?
It's also got more of a cartoony look, which I think was more appropriate for what we were trying to do. You can see the picture I'm showing right now is kind of an early practice render of what the office looked like, and that chair is just some stock thing. Before I created the custom chair.
I just imagine like this this photo that I'm seeing, like what's on the TV screen. It's like, is Dr. Wolf talking about the wars of red and blue? I'm sorry, red and white blood cells.
Oh,
'Cause I think
that. Oh,
looks like
sorry.
the inside
Yeah,
of an artery.
that's different. That's something else I was doing.
Gotcha.
Basically, I was doing educational renderings of red blood cells, and I kind of just used that picture as a stand-in for when I was building it.
Gotcha.
I don't think he's that kind of doctor.
No, exactly. So,
Fair enough.
okay, you see the After Effects window that I'm using right now. For some reason, my video player isn't working. So, basically, all the different layers that I used when putting together all the clips in After Effects and all the pictures. It's just piles and piles and piles of images all on top of each other. Yeah, After Effects probably isn't the best program for this, but it was the one I was most familiar with, so it's the one I ended up using. And,
Well, I mean, After Effects is also what Lightning Bliss's videos are based in. That's her editing system of choice. So yeah, that's I can sort of see like how it is basically layers upon layers of layers using different images during different time frames and the like.
Yeah.
Having also taken editing classes in college as well as 3D modeling. I didn't use Blender at the time. I used something else, but yeah, I can sort of see like sometimes when I look at videos, it's like, okay, how are they accomplishing this? Are they using like this sort of method to do it in whatever program they're using? Are they using a different method? I don't know. I find deconstructing how it's made in certain programs quite interesting.
Yeah, I find that too. Since doing work like this, I found myself analyzing some of the old shows like Land Before Time, how they would tween the foreground across the background, and how they would fill in different animations and how they put them together. So yeah, you start to pick up on stuff like that when you do this.
Yeah.
So this picture in the background is, of course, just a still shot from the 3D render, and you can see how Cozy Glow is disappearing behind the armrest there, and that is actually just a masking effect. So what I did was I traced out an exact picture of the chair, and then I used that as a layer so that Cozy Glow was specifically assigned to disappear behind that, even though she's technically in front of the background. So I can see I've turned off the sound, except for the sound effects of Cozy Glow flapping her wings here. And she's pleading with Dr. Wolf, and so you can see... And I'm also using this wiggle effect in After Effects, where it looks like she's hovering in place. It's just a random walk that the computer generates. And you can see here I've made Chrysalis disappear behind the chair using the same masking technique. And I did something similar when it came to the part where Cozy Glow and Dr. Wolf were behind the chair and poking out behind it. You guys remember that little comedic scene where Chrysalis throws the log, and then she jumps across the room, and then Dr. Wolf and Cozy Glow peek across.
Mom's coming!
That was like one of my favorite parts when watching it.
Yeah.
Just that little slide out was just so perfect.
So there's the mask right there that I used to make that shot. So it's a similar kind of idea.
Okay.
So basically,
Much worse things have happened.
Yeah. So this is basically me assigning the Scorpan PNG here to tween his way out from behind the backstage, and just move across the floor, only moving in the X and Y axes here. And there's the camera. So you can see how the camera is in place, and then as he's still moving, it rises up and gets a pretty decent shot. And it's the kind of shot you can only accomplish when using 3D software, rather than having just a PNG move across a still background. And so you can see how the PNG is designed to pop in and out of existence in time to create the change of expressions. So that is pretty much it. And Dr. Wolf, I actually moved his chair for this shot, so it's technically not in the room when that happens, even though it's not really shot so that you think that.
One of
So-
those little
Really
one of those little secrets of moving things around. Like having been on film sets before,
Yeah.
like how they do certain shops and like moving things out of the way. So like you think they're in the same room, but just changing the furniture around. So yeah, I can see how that's a useful way of getting around certain things.
That's
And
right.
but like in a sense, like this is basically kind of like a therapy session if the MLP characters were like in Paper Mario in a way.
Yes. So
Like 2D characters and 3D backgrounds and the like. Yeah, that's it's nice.
yeah, there's
Well,
the camera
thank
right
you
there.
very-
So you can see how the
Thank
camera's
you very
moving in. That's how I
kindly.
get the zoom at the beginning.
Yeah.
It kind of stops right there. And then that's Dr. Wolf saying, "Oh, Discord, what is this?" And then we zoom right in, and then we cut. So the camera zooms right in, and then I cut to a still background, and that's where we go to the whole, let's meet our celebrity guests and all that.
With the clip shows and the like.
And the next time we see this 3D shot is actually the part where after Chrysalis has jumped through the chair, and we see the cutaway with Dr. Wolf and Discord, and then it pulls away, and now Tirek and Cozy Glow are already on the couch, and it's pulling back, and that's where we see Dr. Wolf saying, "Oh, and I'm speaking to you all from the inside," and so it's two completely different parts of the video, but it's shot in Blender as two consecutive things. So I just, edited it together that way. So that is pretty much everything that I wanted to share. Just kind of the technicals. I hope I wasn't too boring.
It is impressive. I'll definitely give it that.
Mm-hmm. And
And
nobody commented on this, but this was kind of the little Easter egg we put at the end of the credits about Kenisu and I going through our writing process.
We were very passionate.
Yes. All right.
it was
So
fun writing process, though.
Yeah, Doc is just like, just smile and nod, let them not know you're internally screaming.
exactly.
Well,
So
Ken,
yeah.
Okay.
would you care to show us all the well over hundreds of different poses for each of these characters that you came up with?
Oh boy. Let me share the screen. I'll say this, Starbat, that's a tough act to follow. But
Okay.
basically, the process kind of went like this. He would make screenshots of the certain angles we want to do, so that I know exactly where the characters should be. So I would sketch them out first, make sure they're like doctor sitting on a chair. Make sure we would adjust things. Like I was wondering how much of the, when I'm focusing on one character, how much of the neighboring character I should focus on. Because I wonder if it's not going to be a little tedious or something. But I don't know. We spread them pretty far out in the end. So yeah, here's the this one was a little tricky. The overhead view. It's I don't know. I've been practicing a lot with foreshortening, so I think the whole shot kind of says what the expressions are. Like Tarek has his back turned against the ceiling, like he doesn't want anything to do with this. Chrysalis is just so unamused, and Cozy's like, "What is this?" If a character's interacting with another, I'd have to color the other lines. Starbat would give me some sketches, so I know exactly how the characters are moving. So I would skim through his work in progress video, screenshot all the parts, all the new areas of the stage, and then put on Photoshop, make it use the timeline, make it a long layer, and work on the expressions and all that. And yeah, these are the sketches. It's mostly a chance for me to figure out expressions and all that. And then my next, I would get into the outlines. I love this shot. The Mrs. Wolf one.
That was a very
And
nice touch, by the way.
Yeah, I just imagine her like the Doc falls through like a Doctor Strange hole, and Miz is turning around like, where'd he go? And so yeah, I would work on the outlines, and which I found a more efficient way to do it, because if there's anything I learned from the past couple animatics and such, it's that you've got to learn how to cut some corners. Like, I am so used to making like full renders, full shade, like get crazy with one shot. It's like I don't have time for the other 299. So yeah, I would get to the flat color, which I would later clean up blemishes, like whenever there's like a stray line or like a cutoff or like something that I missed out on. But yeah, Discord, what is this? You were originally gonna have like cutoff shots of the characters next to them. Just like an excuse for me to get fun with the expressions. Make sure there's something always going on. I'd say like one of my favorite shots is the Equestria will learn to fear me, when she's flying through the chair, and then we would especially the confessionals, and because that was the first thing that Starbat was working on after I finished up, and just so I can like make sure the expressions like fit well with characters. And then that is until Discord after my assistance, and you have to stay consistent with shading and such, and say like at this point you just have to worry about flat color and make sure these are all PNGs. So I would because I'm very paranoid about backing up my files, I would I would finish the flat colors, get them up on Google Drive before the possibility of losing them.
Right.
And then I would have separate files for the interacting characters, like when like Cozy is buzzing around. Like make sure, I don't know, it's just so that every character is just acting on their own accord. I like this response when Doc says, "What's on your mind? Destruction, revenge, pain."
Yeah, that was a good moment.
Okay then. And like giving Cozy like her fake cutie face, and and then getting her. I like this one, and I think a lot of the movement.
I'm sorry, I wanted to ask. Do you mind if I ask a question about your art?
Yes.
During the personal thoughts segments, with those pictures in the square box, did you also do those for each of the characters?
It was someone else. You mean the cap, the stuff in the upper left corner?
Yes.
Yeah, it was. I did some, and Starbat did some. Because he wanted to take the extra mile, make sure that there's always something on screen at all times. So he would ask me, "Hey, when we get to the part where Chrysalis says she has nothing," so
yeah, because I find those pretty funny.
At first, we wanted we wanted Cozy to have like the bag head, but we changed our minds and said, let's have the caption be the bag head. I'd say like Doc is the most consistent with his poses, like so I can just keep reusing some. Because Like I reused some cozy poses, some posy glow. And yeah, I'd say like out of everyone, like Chrysalis had like the most has had the design I had to keep the most complex to keep consistent. Really sure what it is. It's just because I'm pretty used to drawing ponies, obviously, and I'd say like her I think it's like her wings. You got to keep them even, and the holes in her legs. I'd say that's my. I like when the poses I make when she gets mad. And then yeah, occasionally Starbat would do some tweaks, like he would have Tyrik's arm point forward and all that, or he would add like take one of my images and like edit it a little, so that Chris has like her front legs raised up.
Yeah. Or
So yeah,
that part where Chrysalis is shaking right after her caption is finished or her cutaway is finished, and she.
Then
And she
yeah,
explodes.
here's the shading. Here's the shading. I liked designing Scorpion from the ground up. Because like when I looked at him, I was thinking he looked kind of like those trolls from the Rankin Bass Hobbit, and make sure. Well, he almost looks like the original, but also you can tell some time has passed. He's king now.
I give you a lot of credit for sort of subtly updating his design so that it looks like it fits within, how you design Tyrek and all the other characters. But you gave him a very good update.
Yeah, we based his backstory on the comic, so we figured that if Tyrek was estranged, then Scorpan would have stepped in as the new heir, right?
I like this little subtlety between Chrysalis and Cozy, because from a writing standpoint and like just expressions alone, because she sees that she sees the brothers, like if Tyrek can just open up a little, she's kind of thinking it to herself compared to Cozy, who she's still very impressionable, and she's talking about how much power would come from like both of them together. And she's just so tired of being alone, so tired of because her plan failed. She's done a lot of stuff alone. She's just tired. And at the same time, I wanted to keep it open in the air, whether or not she's really gonna change for the better. And yeah, we were originally gonna have him like Tyrek do like a full hug on Scorpion. I was thinking that was a little too much, so I just baby steps. Just give him like a backhanded hug. And made some tweaks, like Starbat fixed up Splinter. And he would I would show him things, and then he would give me a list of like just like I would give him lists. He would give me a list of things to tweak, like more caption images, more I'd say like say more similar expressions, like making Doc look more shocked at something.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Wolf was in particular concerned about the original look of Splinter, and how it looked a little bit suggestive.
TMI.
I'm actually, if you guys don't mind me asking, is every episode of Dr. Wolf like I never realized how much behind the scenes goes on. Like I just see a script, we record it in maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then we don't see it until the final product. But this is incredible.
It's a lot of talking. It's a lot of just casual exchange, saying, "Hey, why don't we try this?" And we would just add things to the Google Doc in, you know, and we would if we wanted to change up words, we would do that. Occasionally, we would, in this time around, we would occasionally get a few added lines from the script fairy. And yeah, here's the here's where the magic happens. The Photoshop, as you can see, I am not an organized person.
What's organization?
It's like, organization is for people who don't do big projects.
Yeah, my workflow wasn't organized either.
I laugh in pain because I actually do big projects, and I'm also in animation and game development and.
So yeah, what I would occasionally, well, yeah, it was sketches, then outlines, and then flat color, and then like cleaning up blemishes, like broken lines or something, and then I would because like shading every image is it's something I learned. It's something I had to develop a skill for over time. So I wanted to like set up a demonstration. Here's one of the outlines for Chris. I used timelines to keep my things organized. I would set up separate folders for outline, background, character, such and such. So I would make a new file. I would select the whole line. I would clip it. And then use a wand tool on the negative space. Reverse. Delete that area. And then, like, on the other layer, that's an easy flat color. And then I would add the more specific stuff, like in this case, hair. Like I had to expand the selection so that I don't miss any missing nooks and crannies. So yeah, and once I get all that around, I would copy the first of all, like I have like several Photoshop files, like one for every stage of drawing and such, because again, not organized. And by the second to last file, I would export what I got, import it into the file. I'd say the most tedious moment is making sure you can export it all so that each frame is one picture. So, and then I would copy the images that each are one layer. And then I would adjust the hue. I would add blender options where I would control the hue and saturation of something. Like I would make it a little darker, maybe add more refined, warmer light, so it's not just plain black light. And then like I would just like take a soft brush. There's your light source. So I would do that with just about every layer, and to stay consistent with it, with the really consistent stuff, like when Doc is sitting on his chair, like minor things would change, like his eyes or his hand waving. So I would make another file where, what I would do is I would open the exported image in the program, take one of the other, take the pose before it, only delete what I want to change, so that way the shading has consistency, so that like the shading doesn't like shift back and forth, you know, because I don't know, that's maybe people wouldn't mind, but that's like my perfectionist habit.
Okay.
So I don't know if it worked well for me. It's just a lot of trial and error. Like I'm glad I developed over past few projects, because it works well when you're learning how to mass produce a lot of images. And but not, well, at the same time you're not taking away any quality, because I still flipped my canvases. I made sure everything was proportional, and because when I would look back at like this one, his face would look lopsided. So I would add a separate layer where I would just cover up blemishes, or like give him like whiter cheeks. And a lot of repetition, a lot of experimentation. And then I would draw from scratch the minor things, like the captions over it. I just to be fun. I love the Fluttershy and the Rhino. It's like Fluttershy thought of an idea for a trans-dimensional animal sanctuary. It's like, yeah, that'd be the first thing she'd do. And stuff in the background and foreground, like stuff that doesn't want separate from everything else. And like after that, I would take criticism. I would like with the Twilight, when I mentioned Princess Twilight, I said make it jokier. So like I would add like a bunch of spray paint and Discord's hand saying like Luna was here. And yeah, make a separate file for extras and completes. Just anything that Starbat needs, make sure it's the proper format. And I don't know, his was better. As far as the statue pick. And yeah, it was a good way for me to like practice with expressions and everything, because like hard thing to remember with expressions is that each eye has a personality if you try. Like how Cozy's like left eye is wider than the other. And
Oh yeah.
I don't know, without it, the image can feel kind of stale. And then yeah, he asked me to do some Discord. Not sure, ladies and germs. So yeah, it was I'd say my favorite expressions were during the confessionals. Like I was just had to focus on the talking, and all the characters in one place. It's like that. And if I would allow, Starbat would make adjustments, like if he felt like an image was like lingering too long, like when Doctor is about to like when he's embracing for Chrysalis's attack, and he's like closing his eyes and then freaking out. But yeah, that's basically my process. It's a chance for me to learn how to keep consistent, how to have an established design for every character. Because I think this time around I'm pretty happy with like Doc's design. Because I feel like half the time his like muzzle just leans too much off his face when I draw him. So.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's basically it. That's my creative process.
All right then.
Thank you kindly for sharing, Kenisu.
Thank you.
I think we got to give these guys a virtual round of applause. Like, I'm shocked at how much behind the scenes went on for this particular video. Give yourselves a pat on the back, round of applause. That You guys are incredible.
Oh, well, thank
Let's
you.
give a big hand to Big Ben, shall we?
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. I,
Will, I do want to thank everyone for making this all possible. It was easily one of the most complex A Moment with Dr. Wolf videos ever. And even though it was quite a lengthy process, it was still very well worth the wait.
think we started like January, I think.
Yeah, that's when
Yeah.
we first started scripting.
We picked up right after Anger Management 2.
Yeah, I was actually putting together some assets even as early as December of 2019.
Well, there were a few questions from some fans who were curious about the project. I imagine we have touched on some of the questions already, but I did want to read off a few. For example, there is a question specifically for Pretty Pegasus Wings from Dark Blastoise 09. What did you have to do to get in the role of a manipulative, cunning, and adorable villain?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I just practiced the voice a lot. My friend helped me kind of figure out what I needed to do to improve the voice, and well, I got picked. I don't really know what else to say. I'm just kind of the person who doesn't like to lie to my friends, so I'm not really a manipulative person.
Well, I can kind of understand the feeling because even though Dr. Wolf has been such a calm and collected individual over the years, I have lost track of how many people have specifically told me you would actually have a wonderful villain voice.
Well, you did play as like a giant skeleton monster.
Yeah, because someone before that point decided, you know what? I want this calm and quiet wolf character to be this towering skeleton of a villain in my video game. Someone decided, you know, I think that voice would fit, and that, okay, I'll do that.
Well,
And that's the funny thing. I often get cast for villains because, well, I can get my voice very low, so that's what
Damn.
people really like most.
Hey,
And
a hero's a hero, but everyone loves a good villain. Ain't that right, Thespio?
Need I say more?
oh
Are we really doing this? Do we have a poser among us?
Oh boy.
Oh me, oh my. Looks like we got a clown in town. And he's
Damn, that's actually a pretty good impression.
that's pretty great. Oh my god.
It's actually pretty good.
Why, thank you. I try to do my best.
And it's just so much talent here. I can't get over it.
Yes.
Put
Yes,
four
we are.
voice actors in a room, and they'll come out with the next Batman villain. Apparently.
Well, if it's anything like modern day DC writing, I would rather give it a hard pass, Chief. Not gonna lie.
You ever heard of Vanity Fair? It's this they have a video series where famous voice actors react to impressions of the characters, like they did Rob Paulson, Patrick.
Oh yeah,
Warburton.
I've seen those. Those are really fun to watch.
You're welcome. I'm waiting for them to do a Mark Hamill, and I want you to do it.
Oh, well, here comes the clowns.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Well, I sound like the younger version of Mark Hamill as opposed to the older version of him. Batman the animated series version as opposed to Batman Arkham series.
Everyone has their own way of doing things.
On the topic of sounding like a villain, Dr. Wolf, funny enough, I'm actually helping out with a game called Glide the Dragon. in later down the road, we are going to need some potential voice actors.
Interesting.
Oh.
Cast all of us.
No,
Need a
no,
female voice.
Done.
no!
Done.
You can't lie like the rest of them. You try out. I don't do handouts. What do I look like, a politician? I don't do handouts.
Oh,
Well, I mean, Doc has been told he does pretty darn good villains. Mr. Glass Wings Beast.
Mhm. Yes.
Let's get
Perhaps
back-
I will do so again one of these days. But that is for another time.
let's get back to the questions, shall we?
No,
Yeah.
I just want to, I want to say one last thing. Going back to Wolf, you sounding and being asked to be a villain, and even pretty Pegasus Wing, because you got that range to be a villain. You know that that old quote that Joker fans love quoting, or Batman fans, I should say. If you stare into the abyss stares back. So, Wolf's been interviewing villains for the better part of like the last 5 years. Maybe he's picking up something. You never know.
Oh, that's an interesting interpretation.
That's one way of putting it. Sure.
But thank you kindly for that. All right. Next question. From JROG 1989. What did you find the most difficult when it came to making the video?
Should we like go around or?
Well, let me see. I'm sure everybody can have their own personal ideas, but what would be most difficult for me? I suppose the most difficult part personally was just trying to make the characters sound natural when Starbat and Kenisu and I were all writing the script together. We wanted to try and stay true to the canon already set up, yet we were also attempting to expand the story. And it's really hard to walk that fine line to where everybody thinks, yeah, that is a believable direction for this particular character.
Yeah. I think it was actually Kenisu who came up with the idea for using the TV cutaways for exposition, and I thought that was a really good plot device. But you didn't, Kenisu, you didn't originally want it to be like their thoughts. It was supposed to be something about them having pre-recorded these things, and therefore they would have actually had prior knowledge of what they'd said, or something along those lines.
It's like a prior idea. It was like what they thought of the whole thing, but honestly, looking back, it's kind of I think that kind of goes without saying.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those little things that we kind of butted heads over, and so during the writing process, that was
we were arguing like is Discord interfering too much, and
yeah,
it's like how much like isn't Doctor shouldn't Doctor be affecting the characters more than Discord?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so little things like that. Speaking for myself, probably just the editing process, especially when it came to animating the physics of Chrysalis throwing the log across the room and stuff like that. Getting the easy ease so that it starts accelerating and then disappears off screen and then accelerates back down towards the floor. Just getting little details like that correct and rendering it and watching it and then rendering it again and watching it again to get all those little details right. I must have watched this video effectively, I don't know, 1,000 times in order to get it to look just right. So I guess you could say that was the hardest part, even tedious, most tedious part for me.
I guess like again the writing process, pretty hard. Is like making compromise and all that. It's like you spend a couple hours coming up with like a good just a way for Doctor to reach out to the characters. Like I was like repeating the words in my head like every day, and it's like the part where Doctor says like that, back at your prison in Tartarus, like that, what I said to you hasn't changed. It's like, and the part where Tarek goes like, what does it matter? I'm still gonna wreck up your stuff. And I don't know, it's like trying to repeat it in your heads, making sure it sounds natural, and I say the drawing process, hardest part was keeping it all together, just keeping it all consistent. Other than that, it was mostly a lot of repetition, a lot of because during the final stretch, I was like, I was paranoid about like, did I miss this? Did I miss this? Oh God, what if they notice that? Stuff like that.
Okay. Anyone else have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think I can weigh in. I'd say like this is actually an issue I come into rather regularly, not just for this specific project. I'm talking more like in a general sense. And I don't know if I can speak for any of the other VAs here, but for me, probably one of the most difficult parts is trying to not get in my head about too much of the technical stuff when recording, like constantly worrying about which cadence you should use when doing a certain line or a certain musicality, or like this one thing I do sort of struggle with is just getting out of my head, worrying too much about the technicals and not being able to just go in and play. Because having taken a few classes, one of the core things that my instructors have told me that a lot of up-and-coming VAs struggle with is worrying too much about technicals. And I admit, sometimes like I can be a bit of a perfectionist, and I end up doing like 5, maybe 7 takes of a single line, no matter how long or short. This is like, and like I'm talking like full takes, not ones where like I accidentally like flub up a line, or like I accidentally like kick my mic stand or something like that, where I have to stop partway through. But sometimes I have fallen into this trap of hating my first take and then sort of trying to figure out a better take as I'm doing each line again and again and again until I feel like I found one that I'm satisfied with. And I feel like that robs me of the opportunity just to be in the moment of the scene and in the character's mindset. And it's something that I am trying to get out of that habit to this day. Some jobs are a little easier than others, but because yeah, I will admit, when I first did Discord's voice, I tricked myself into thinking, okay, I got to sound just like John Delancey's interpretation of the character because, you know, he is that character. But that sort of robbed me of just, you know, everybody's interpretation of a single character is going to be different. Like going back to the Joker, like we have Mark Hamill's interpretation, but we also have Jack Nicholson's interpretation. We have Kevin Michael Richardson's interpretation. We have all these other interpretations of this character. Each one's going to be different in how they sound.
And how they portray and everything else.
Yeah, and how they portray them. But you have to, but the one thing that you do have to keep in mind is just the type of character he is. You have to get out of your head. You shouldn't focus on how he should sound. You should focus more on playing the part. Just playing.
Yeah.
That's one of my one of the big things that one of my instructors, Richard Horvitz, told me over and over. If you don't know, Richard Horvitz is the voice of Invader Zim and Billy from Billy and Mandy and Squirrel
and
Boy.
Don't forget about Dag from Angry Beavers.
Yes, Dag from Angry Beavers too.
I guess.
But
he's also Moxie.
Yes, and Moxie and Hell of a Boss. But one of the things he always liked to tell his students is to just go in there and just play. Don't worry about the technicals. Stay in the moment.
Yeah.
And I will admit, sometimes I do fall into that trap from time to time, and it makes trying to edit down to your 3 best takes. It can be a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah.
Funny you're mentioning this, Thespio. I actually wait. How old are you, by the way? Just need to ask.
I'm 29.
Wow, you're 2 years older than me. Yet I'm actually I've taught people how to taught people the way of the voice, the philosophy of voice, as well as acting myself and singing. So this is one thing I always tell my students. Yeah, impressions are a good bedrock to discovering your strength and your range, but never fall into the trap of trying to be someone else. In the words of the genie, he's the one original, often replicated, but never truly duplicated. You are you, and you have your own voice. You may have a similar voice to one person. You may not. This is your gun. It's just like everyone else's gun, but this one is my gun. Lack of better words.
Yeah. That also does make sense.
That's a pretty aggressive way to view it, but I like it.
Yeah. In fact, I was even told, to just wrap up this sort of thing to my question because I rambled on far enough. One other thing that certain instructors have told me, that even bad impressions can also be characters in and of themselves.
Yeah,
ooh, I like that.
There are some people who think ooh, I can do a really good, say, just for the sake of an example, a good Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. There is only one Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he can do it better than anyone else because he is himself. But even bad impressions can be their own characters, say for the sake of parody and the like.
Funny enough, there's a character named Arnold from Tiny Toons who is designed to be a bad impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, exactly. So, but going back to the whole thing, when starting out, I did fall into a trap of trying to be voice for voice, basically imitate John Delancey. But as I did more Discord projects, and of course following up to this project here, I've grown more comfortable with my own interpretation of the character, and I just making it my own. I'm no John Delancey, but I do know I still try my best to get into the mindset of the character, even though I may not fully sound like him 100%. So that was one obstacle that, not for this specific project, but something that I've learned over time, to which I've applied to this project.
That's awesome.
So, did we all record? This is a question to, I guess, everybody. Did we all record live with Dr. Wolf and Starbat?
I want to say I think Doc may have offered that as an option, to take a live direction while recording. I could be wrong, but I have had people come up to me and ask if you wanted to do that. But yeah, I don't think that was the case for this one. I think we were just left to our own devices to just sort of self-direct, which it can be both of a blessing and a curse at the same time. But yeah, I think that's what. I don't know, Doc. Did you offer that or no? I forgot.
I think we, as in Starbat and I, went into a call with 4 of the 5 VAs.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Will, I think you were the exception.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
probably because your schedule at the time wasn't really conducive for us to try and go through every one of your lines, listening and saying, hey, you give it like 3 other takes of this kind of thing.
Right.
But we did do so for the rest of the VAs, I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, we just gave some pointers on a few poignant places for most everybody else. I try to leave plenty of freedom for people to do their own thing, like Liz's great improvs that she included.
Right.
I think what has made this specific video and probably other Dr. Wolf videos and other productions in the past is the three of you, Wolf, Kenisu, and Starbat. You guys have, because I've been whether they're projects that I've been paid for with brands or even fan projects. Certain directors can be insufferable to deal with. They don't know what they want out of the actor, and they don't really know what their final vision is going to be. So sometimes the ultimate work can suffer for that. But the three of you seem to have struck a very easy balance between sort of, we got to be accommodating, we got to be understanding, but we also need to surround ourselves with people who ultimately we want to see the video uploaded. We want the people to enjoy it so that now tonight, it's 2 nights before Thanksgiving, we can all just sort of chill back and say, we did a pretty good job at this, So the communication and the understanding of the direction that the video is going in is shared amongst the three of you, and then that bleeds over to us. So I think that's a huge aspect to the video's success, and that everything kind of blends into one seamless product.
Mm-hmm. It's a labor of love for all of us, so the love of the show and its characters. So that's what drives it.
Definitely. I think like the one common goal that we all shared, and this could probably apply to any outside projects too, whether it be online or professional TV and film and the like. The common shared goal of wanting to tell a story and connecting with the audience, I think, is probably the most important thing going forward in projects like this, to make a connection, because we want people to listen, we want people to watch, we want to put care into this, and we want people to see that we put care into this, so that way they can connect with it better. When they see something that has a lot of care put into it, they'll notice that right away. And something that's just put together haphazardly, they'll see that.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely is, I think,
Amen, brother. Amen.
a good strength that you brought up, Mongoose. So
Thank you all for the very kind words. Thank you all very much indeed. I am so very grateful that this making of video actually was a lot more enlightening than I might have expected. We are rather short on time at this point, but I do hope that everyone at least felt they had a chance to say their piece and what they enjoyed, and even a few inspirational words for the audience.
Mm-hmm.
But my personal thanks to you, Cole, for your part of Scorpan. To you, Will, for the mischievous portrayal of Discord for the umpteenth time. You're still especially good at it.
I try.
And to you, Liz, for even though this is your first time portraying Chrysalis in a project, you really pulled it off quite well.
Thank you.
And you, pretty Pegasus, you may not have all that much confidence in your cozy glow, but I think I speak for the rest of us. You are definitely better than you give yourself credit for.
Thank you.
And a big thanks to you, Mongoose, for returning to play T-Rex once again, even though, as you stated before, this is the buff T-Rex, and you were interested in the different portrayal.
Yep.
And a tremendous thanks to our artists and animators who also helped so very much in the writing process. Kenisu, your talents are definitely improving, and I am grateful to see that you are finding more and more passion for the work. And to you, Starbat.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
You have definitely
Thank you, bunch.
you have definitely gone above and beyond with 3D animating that I never thought we'd ever see in a moment, Dr. Wolf. So a big thanks to the both of you, for sure.
Thank you.
Oh, and a
Thanks a lot.
Starbat. If you're also, you said you're the one who did the 3D stuff, correct?
That's right.
Yes, well, I'll direct message you regarding to a proposal.
Yeah.
You remember, I'm actually working with game development, and I would definitely like to discuss more about this with you afterwards.
Yeah, I'd be open to that, absolutely.
All right.
Alrighty.
Now, everyone, you know you gotta say your line before we leave. You know you got to. All right, guys. You know what to say. In 1, 2, 3. It's
good to be
healthy.
Oh, we're gonna have to try that again.
No, we only do
I have
one
to-
take. No, one.
It's part of my voice. Part of my voice preparation. I gotta listen to T-Rex speak for like 30 seconds.
That's okay. This was a lot of fun. And here's hoping that we get to do another big project in the Mo Dr. Wolf series. But I hope everyone in the audience understands that, especially shown today in this making of, there is a lot of passionate work that goes into these kinds of projects. But until next time, I am Dr. Wolf, and on behalf of everyone here, we look forward to hearing from you.
Pip, pip, your own all right.
He said it. He said it.
Ah, he said it. He said it.
I said that.